Hello, Chlorophyll's the name, Zoo Tycoon is the game. Let's get to it. So, as you can see, I am building a zoo. This is an idea I got from my friend Maggie Jeopard. I'll link to her video. She did a zoo speed build in Zoo Tycoon 2, and I thought that was really cool, so I wanted to do it in the game I have, which is Zoo Tycoon 1, and so here I am doing that. And for the first while, I just put in these paths. And before I started, I went through and I waited a long time. As you can see, we are in the 4th year, and I waited until I got all of the research done and all of the unlocks, because it takes a while to unlock things in this game, and you just kind of have to wait. And so I waited, 4 in-game years for that to happen. There was a zoo here. I had a zoo. It was just kind of a temporary zoo, so that I'd start getting something going, and so I had a temporary zoo here, but I've since gotten rid of it. And so yeah, now I'm just building a much bigger and better zoo, because the zoo I had here was just a little, try to get some guests in the door and see what I can do. So it was this tiny little zoo. We only had like Komodo dragons, I want to say. So yeah, but while I waited, I tested out a bunch of ideas I had, and I came up with these paths. And essentially there's those big green patches between them, and in those I came up with what I want to put in between the paths there, and I designed it and all that. And so you're gonna see that later in the video. I wanted to get all the paths in first. Sorry if it's a bit fast. I wasn't quite sure what speed was acceptable for Zoo Tycoon. Oh, I thought I got rid of that. Sorry about that. I kept looking for the I knew I opened the recording software at some point. I just did not know when. And essentially the thing with Zoo Tycoon is it doesn't register as a game to my computer. And so, well, it doesn't register as a game to OBS more so. And so I have to do a display capture, which is, why you see the white sides there. That's just my files. Sometimes I'll have the wrong folder open. You'll be able to see actual files, but this time I had an empty folder open, which is what I go for. Anyway, up here I put in a bunch of like raised up areas. I'm thinking about doing aquariums up there. I do not finish the zoo in this episode. I don't even come close. Essentially, I put in like a quarter of the zoo, and I put in the exhibits, not the animals, just the exhibits, and I don't finish the exhibits either. It's just the places that the animals will go. I do put in the savanna grass, because they're going to be savanna animals over here, but I don't put in the animals yet. I just paint the exhibit so it doesn't look so empty. And that there is a lion cage. I name all the cages so that they I can tell what I'm supposed to put in there. And I had a plan. It just very quickly was like, oh yeah, this isn't going to work with the actual zoo, because there's a big difference between drawing something out and putting it in this game. And so, especially with as many tiles as are, this zoo, it's the largest map in the game. I believe it's the Big Dry River map, except I've flattened it out so it doesn't have the Big Dry River in it. And so, yeah, the one I'm working on now is an elephant exhibit. And I really wanted the exhibits to be a good size for the animals, but I also didn't want to waste a bunch of space, putting like giant exhibits in, because I'm only going to have so much room for animals. Because as big as this map is, I still don't think it could fit every single animal in the game. That'd be a fun challenge to try eventually, actually, is trying to make a zoo with every single animal. I mean, I don't have the time for that right now, nor do I want to have 3 zoos going at once. I very much like this game, and I've been really into it lately. I'm doing this. I have my let's play of it going. The one zoo, it's mostly just a normal animal zoo. I'm thinking about doing a dinosaur zoo next. I keep seeing all the dinosaurs and I'm like, oh, this would be awesome. The issue with the dinosaur zoo is they always escape eventually. And like, that's just how the game goes. I mean, now that I'm older, I might have a better understanding of why they escape, and it might not just happen and me be like, oh no, they're eating my guests. But it always goes the way of Jurassic Park. But not this zoo. This zoo's not going to have any dinosaurs. It will have a aquatic animal area. I don't know if it wouldn't be an aquarium, kind of an aquarium though, like an aquatic zoo, like a SeaWorld, except like good. I don't know. But yeah, I struggled with the paths a bit. They didn't quite line up as much as I'd like them to, but also I made it work. I wanted the paths to make sense, and I wanted there to be enough things in the zoo so that my guests were never really having any problems. But I don't know how well this is going to work. There should be enough bathrooms, enough snack machines, enough drink machines, because I implemented those into the paths that I put in. Sorry for that pause there. I think I was checking to see what animals I didn't have, because I wanted to have all of the savanna animals. And I don't know if I'm going to get every animal from the base game in, but I'm going to try, because like I said, this zoo is not done by the end of this part. The zoo is even close to done. So I don't know how many animals I'm going to fit in. I know that I've filled up about a quarter of the space in the map. And so, considering I've only done savanna animals, I know there are a lot of savanna animals. There's also a lot of rainforest animals. So I figure if I do one section savanna, one section rainforest, I don't know if that will leave enough room to do enough for the other kinds, because I also want to have that one raised section over there. I want that to be my aquatic animals, but I don't know if that's going to leave enough room for other animals. So I might need to get a bit more choosy when it comes to the rest of the animals, but I knew I wanted to have all the savanna animals, and so that is what I'm doing. That giant exhibit there, I think that's a baboon exhibit, and I do cut it down eventually because I also in this part put in a bunch of animal houses and food courts and stuff in this area. I wanted this area to be mostly done. I might go through and do a bit more detailing later on, and then, you know, I do still need to add in the animals. I don't add in any animals in this part. But yeah, back here is weird because I was like, oh yeah, I should probably make it so my guests can get back here. And so I bring the path around, but it's kind of a dead end. And so I wanted to lure the guests down this way, and I figured a good way to do that was with animal houses, because animal houses are free and guests like them. And so I figure if I put some down here, then the guests might come down this way. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I'm hoping it's going to be enough. And there's 2 of them down here, so maybe. And I try to keep them like themed with like the savanna and the African animals, so hopefully they come down that way. There's also a restaurant there. It's really hard for restaurants not to make money, so I'm hoping the guests will come down that way. Here I am cutting out a bit of the elephant exhibit so I can put the elephant ride next to the elephant exhibit, because I thought that would be nice. And then the colors for the zoo are orange and light blue, so that is what I do. I think over here is oh, that's a reptile house. Yes. Yes, that is a reptile house. So I put the reptile house there. There's a primate house there. There's the bird house in Avery. And I'm never sure if I'm saying that right. In Avery? And then the insect house is over here. And it's kind of, I think it is every one of the houses. No, there's still the nocturnal house, and there's an aquarium. I'm going to put the aquarium over by the aquatic side of the park. And then the nocturnal house, all of the bats that it comes with are from Southeast Asia, and so I think I might put that more so with like rainforest animals. So there's that. There's a pause there. I'm putting in a food court over here. I use a lot of the fancy drink stands and fancy burger stands and just fancy restrooms and all that. There's the normal ones, but then there's the fancy ones, and I don't know how much of a difference they make between like the quality of, you know, guests' happiness. I imagine it's guest happiness. Oh, I realized right here that I messed up the path, which I did. It took a little while to fix, but I do fix it. I believe I get this wrong. I think that one's one off. Oh yeah, it's still one off. Yeah. So yeah, it takes me a minute to fix here. I forgot the square off the big square in the middle, because there's one little square that doesn't have the path running through it, and then there's the normal ones which have the cobblestone in the middle, and so I forgot just the 3x3 square, and so I had to add that in so that my zoo looked kind of symmetrical. I'm sure there's other parts where I've messed up, but so far what I've done, as far as I can tell, is what it's supposed to be. Like all of the sections here are the right size and everything fits, and I have a very specific plan of how everything fits in these, and you're seeing me follow that plan right now. Essentially, there's 2 sections, or there's 3 sections, and then either end there's the ones with the walkway through them, and then the one in the middle has restrooms either side, which there's the restrooms. And then the walkway in the middle has those observatory areas? I forget exactly what they're called, but they have those archways. I figured that'd be nice, and it gives the guests a chance to cross over, really whenever they want. I don't think it's going to be a problem of guests being like, I'm stuck on this side of the big flower bed here, which it is kind of a big flower bed. I put 4 of those trees in because I thought it made them look nice and full. They kind of look sparse on their own, but 4 of them, it looks like a really, I don't know, healthy pine tree. So I did 4 of them, and then there's the cherry trees and the bushes and the flowers. I'm putting in the snack machines and drink machines right now. I'm hoping that there's going to be enough. Guests are so hard to please sometimes. Like, I say that, but, I just get bothered because I'll have, 20 or 30 thirsty guests in my zoo with 1,000 guests in it. Which, yeah, some guests are going to be thirsty. They're on the way to taking care of themselves. Sorry, I can't talk sometimes. Anyway, I'm adding in observation areas for the exhibits. That's what they're called, observation areas. Yeah, so I'm adding them in for the exhibits. Also over here, there aren't just the African animals, like the African savanna animals. There's also kangaroos and black bucks, which black bucks are from India, it says. And so I put those over in the back. I figure, I don't know what other animals they have from like Australia for the kangaroos, and I know they have rainforest animals from India, but I figured putting the black bucks with the savanna animals at least would be a bit more like thematically appropriate. I don't know. I just put them over here because I wanted all my savanna animals in one spot, and so that's what I did. There's also a savanna dinosaur, which I think is really cool, but I'm not doing dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are really hard and they're really expensive. I wouldn't mind trying that. I talked about that earlier, though. I'm adding in signs, which is kind of, I don't know, repetitive, I guess, because they go in all the same spots. It takes a while for me to get them there. Now I'm adding in some trees so that the park isn't empty. The guests don't particularly get happy when they see like the maple trees, because the maple trees are considered exhibit trees, not like guest decorative trees, but I get happy when I see the maple trees, so I put in maple trees. And then here I am putting in flowers. I think I just put a bush there. Yeah, there's the bush. Okay. And then there's some gravel around there. I thought the gravel looked nice, so I kept the gravel in. And I put in lots and lots of flowers. I figure this zoo should have pretty good guest happiness. There might be a few places where there's not enough bathrooms down these thinner paths that don't have the big middle section, which I'll have to keep an eye out for. And I might add in some more bathrooms. It's hard to find spots for bathrooms. Like, there's one right there. And then there's one down by the animal houses in the corner. There might be a few more places I should put bathrooms. We'll see. Because I might do a bit of playing in this zoo once it's done just to see how it runs. Because it'd be kind of sad just to build a huge zoo and not play in it at all. So I'm probably going to play in it a bit after it runs, but there's not going to be any room to build in it. So it's just going to, see how it goes sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, I'm adding in another food court area. It's got hot dogs and drinks. And then I was thinking about putting a bathroom in, but then I realized that there's a bathroom right down the path. There's actually 2 bathrooms right there because there's one either side of the path. And so I figured it wasn't important. And we're actually getting close to the end. I add in some cherry trees and wishing wells on these little square guys because I thought they fit pretty well. Hopefully the guests like them. And then that's going to be all I do for this episode. I will come back and do more next time. It's just I'd been working for 2 hours and I didn't want this to be like an hour-long video, which, it would be if I did the entire zoo. In fact, it might be longer than that. Anyway, we've come to the end. The video has stopped, so I'm going to go ahead and do my sign-off. Leave a like, remember to subscribe, and go get some sunshine. I'll see you next time.